Welcome back to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. The wise Latina wasn't looking so wise at the Supreme Court yesterday in oral hearings about the case regarding the Voting Rights Act. She looked like an absolute fool. She got embarrassed by a Trump lawyer, and we're going to bring you this because it's worth listening to. And before we get into that, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. Join us. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments on Wednesday regarding Louisiana versus Calais, which concerns a key provision of the Voting Rights Act. That would be Section 2. And that was used by states to unconstitutionally draw districts favorable to minority voters. And as we know, you don't have a right to pick candidates according to race in this country. And you can look no further than some of our races in the United States where the Republican, such as Winsome Sears in Virginia, she is up against a white woman, Abigail Spanberger, and the Republicans support Winsome Sears. So this is no longer the civil rights era where the Democratic Party prevailed over Jim Crow laws. This is 2025. We need to move past the racial gerrymandering of this country. We need to have a colorblind society where the government treats everyone equally according to race, but not according to liberal justices at the Supreme Court. We discussed earlier Ketanji Brown Jackson comparing black people to disabled people. That is a very racist statement. I'm sorry. Enough is enough with this pretending that the Democratic Party isn't racist. They have always been racist, going back to, Abraham Lincoln. And they never stopped being racist. They just hid it under a veneer of elitism and paternalism. And that really came out in the Supreme Court. And the wise Latina, so-called, her name is Sonia Sotomayor, of course, she tried to make an argument about white people not voting for blacks. She said that white Republicans and Democrats won't vote for blacks, thus they need districts of their own. And then Principal Deputy Solicitor General Hashim Mupa said, rightly, if these were white Democrats, there's no reason to think they'd get another district. Let's hear his argument because I think it really destroys Sotomayor's reasoning.
You could control for partisan effect. There was racially polarized voting even within the Democratic Party. That's where Section 2 matters, where you have a reason to think that a racial group is being treated.
You have some of that here, too. You have proof of that here.
No, you don't. What you have here is that Republicans and Democrats are different.
No, you have some that even white Republicans or white Democrats won't vote for black candidates.
Right, but if these were white Democrats, there's no reason to think they would have a second district. None. And so what is happening here is their argument is because these Democrats happen to be black, they get a second district. If they were all white, we all agree they wouldn't get a second district. That is literally the definition of race subordinating traditional principles.
What do you think about this case? Of course, if the Voting Rights Act Section 2 gets struck down, it will completely transform the districting in the South. The Democrats, they will get a back-breaking blow because, well, they could lose 10 to 12 or more seats due to districting that represents Americans simply without race and ethnicity and religion. And none of this should be factored into our districting. If you need to have a racial fiefdom in order to get race representation, then you are a broken party. You need to win among the general electorate, and that's by pushing policies that help Americans. This is very simple, okay? There are no policies that just help black people. There are no policies that just help white people without hurting the country, without solidifying this racialized society that doesn't help the country as a whole. So we need to have laws that are fair to everyone equally, and that doesn't mean having this contrived equity that just reinforces the systemic racism that the Democrats pretend to care about. Well, they don't care about it. except to the extent that they enforce it in every state and city where they have total control. So weigh in with your own thoughts. What do you think about the Supreme Court case? We always appreciate hearing from you at Explain America.